Anna Kasparian calls Trump a racist, sexist, misogynist, all of the words, you know the drill. She's a crazy leftist. What can we expect? Thanks for watching Bring the Asteroid. Make sure you like today's video, subscribe to the channel. We'll get right into it.
Emmy-nominated producer Bill Pruitt used to work on The Apprentice with Donald Trump, of course, and now that his 20-year non-disclosure agreement has expired, he's ready to tell all about the former president and what he was like behind the scenes. Now, he wrote about this in a piece over at Slate titled "The Donald Trump I Saw on The Apprentice. For 20 years, I couldn't say what I watched the former president do on the set of the show that changed everything. Now I can." And so he kind of sets up the story by giving the context, and then he talks about very specific examples of Trump being incredibly misogynistic and sexist on set, while also saying deeply racist things. So we'll get to that in a moment. He says, "I was one of 4 producers involved in the first 2 seasons. During that time, I signed an expansive non-disclosure agreement that promised a fine of $5 million and even jail time if I were to ever divulge what actually happened. It expired this year." No one involved in The Apprentice, from the production company or the network to the cast and crew, was involved in a con with malicious intent. It was a TV show and it was made for entertainment. I still believe that, but we played fast and loose with the facts, particularly regarding Trump. And if you were one of the 28 million who tuned in, chances are you were conned. And so we've heard some of these allegations before, that Trump wasn't really like as successful as he claimed to be. But let's get into the details about the sexism and racism after Cenk makes a very concise point.
That's funny. Pausing here to deliver some.
Of course there's an ad. We gotta skip it, guys. We gotta skip it. No, thank you, Cenk.
We appreciate you. If you hit the join button, guys, I also know someone that worked at The Apprentice, and I want to get into not just the racist stuff, but how they built up this con together. NBC and Trump together decided to con the American people into believing that he was a successful businessman. I think that tells you more about the media than it does about Donald Trump. And I don't want you to miss that part of the story.
Since when does Trump team up with the liberal media? Come on, that's what they do for Democrats, not Trump Republicans.
So we'll get to it in a second.
Definitely. So let's start with the alleged sexism on set. Bill Pruitt writes, "While leering at a female camera assistant or assessing the physical attributes of a female contestant for whoever is listening, he orders a female camera operator off an elevator on which she is about to film him. She's too heavy," I hear him say. Jesus. So this is very similar to what he would say about Miss America contestants if he believed that they were overweight. And then after he was accused of that, he would double down on it kind of shamelessly. So that's part of the reason why I don't think that these allegations are really gonna make a difference at all. Certainly not with the voters and who they're currently supporting in this election. It's because a lot of this stuff is stuff that we already knew about Trump. But let me give you more. Another female camera operator, writes Pruitt, who happens to have blonde hair and blue eyes, draws from Trump comparisons to his own Ivanka Trump. "There's a beautiful woman behind that camera," he says, toward a line of 10 different operators set up in the foyer of Trump Tower one day. "That's all I want to look at." And then finally, this part stood out to me the most. Trump corners a female producer and asks her whom he should fire. She demurs, saying something about how one of the contestants blamed another for their team losing. Trump then raises his hand, cupping them, or his hands, cupping them to his chest. "You mean the one with the," basically talking about her breasts.
Yep.
He doesn't know the contestant's name. Trump eventually fires her. I mean, I have to admit, I'm not surprised by any of this. Trump is openly misogynistic. It's just who he is. Yeah. And what's really surprising to me is how in previous election cycles, prior to Trump running in 2016, like the smallest misstep would destroy a campaign. But with Trump, I mean, this kind of stuff keeps coming out and no one seems to, I mean, the Democrats care, but the Democrats weren't gonna vote for him anyway.
Yeah, so first of all, the misogyny is over the top, but he's already been convicted in a civil trial of sexual assault, and it didn't change anybody's vote on the Republican side.
Right.
We all, of course, heard the legendary Hollywood Access tape about grabbing them by the pee. His like dismissal of anyone based on looks, of, oh, she's fat, I don't like her. It's really disgusting.
And that's the Trump, of course, that we love. The brutally honest Trump that's telling everyone, or just saying out loud the things that we're all saying in our heads.
And he actually picks his cabinet members based on that. And he says it. He says, oh, I picked him because he was out of central casting. I didn't like his mustache. Chris Christie's too fat.
True.
I mean, this guy's a moron who makes decisions that affect the country and your lives based on this kind of stuff. Now we got the N-word coming up, and then I'll tell you about the media.
Oh no, the N-word. Oh no.
Okay, so this is the part that Pruitt claims there is footage of, and he is demanding that the footage be released. So let me give you the incident, and then we'll talk about the existence of that footage. So basically, Pruitt details one discussion about who should win the season as it came down to the two final contestants, okay? One of those final contestants was a gentleman named Bill Rancic. As you can tell, I never watched the show, but there was Bill Rancic, who, by the way, eventually won and earned a job at the Trump organization. But the other contestant, other finalist, was a black contestant by the name of Kwame Jackson. Now, here's how the conversation went down when they were trying to decide who to eliminate and who would win. Caroline Kepcher, who runs Trump's hospitality units and one of his golf clubs, expresses how she observed Jackson at the casino overcoming more obstacles than Rancic, particularly with the way he managed the troublesome Omarosa. Jackson, Kepcher maintains, handled the calamity with grace. So obviously someone who works for Trump looks at the two final contestants and says, no, Kwame Jackson, which is the black contestant, he did a masterful job with this one incident. I think he should win. Okay. I think Kwame would be a great addition to the organization, she says to Trump, who winces while his head bobs around in reaction to what he is hearing and clearly resisting. Why didn't he just fire her, meaning fire Omarosa, Trump asks. It's a reasonable question, Pruitt says. But then here's where things get bad. That's not his job. Jay Beanstalk, the showrunner, says to Trump, that's yours. Trump's head continues to bob. I don't think he knew he had the ability to do that, Kepcher says. And then at that point, Trump weighs in and says, yeah, but I mean, would America buy a N-word winning? So this is the moment or the exchange that Pruitt says there's a video of, and he's demanding that the video be released by Mark Burnett. So Burnett allegedly told Trump that no, the footage doesn't exist, but who knows what's true.
Yeah, Trump tweeted about it. I talked to Burnett and he says in caps, no tapes. That's kind of an admission. That's saying, I double checked to make sure that they didn't have me saying it on tape.
I know.
Because
That's not necessarily an admission. I mean, come on. They are reaching so far to try to just show, once again, that Trump's a racist, sexist, misogynist. I mean, the same story is told so many times. It's like, why do you guys feel like you need to keep proving it? Why? Like, if he's really such a bad sexist and misogynist and racist, why do you have to keep proving it? Why? Everyone who thinks he's that will already think he's that, and you don't need to convince them, and then everyone else doesn't really care or knows it's all BS. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will see you next time. Bye.